to have a manner that is useful to other people, such as biology in the Good Doctor series, and then, for example, mathematics. They can have exceptional skills, like they can count in like a really short time, or musics and so on and so forth. And because of this, when there are two a when this autistic people itself is really complex, as I define it in the first place. It cannot be the same as in the real life and entertainment itself. When this autistic people is should be actually be the needs of this autism people needs to be catered in the first place. For example, they need like support, they need mental support, they need help, they need we as average people to understand what is it actually be to be like in their position, right? So while we have to even learn more about themselves, what they actually need to understand, it will be so cruel for us to expect them to have such skills, such genius behavior that's the same as what we see on the television. And the second thing is that because the diagnosis of the autism itself is complex in the very first place, because there's no medical test, there's no blood test or such specific tools that can be used to diagnose the disorder. Well, the doctors need to have to look at the child's development history, for example, and behavior to then make diagnosis. And what we know that everyone needs different, like, right? And some people have specific needs, some people have specific environmental, and some don't. So later, so thus itself the conclusion of this argument is that the portrayal of autistic people may be misinterpreted by the viewers as accurate portrayals of these autistic people itself, and it can make viewers to have such stereotype and worsening the condition and situation that this autism people itself have in the first place. Before I move on, yes, I'll accept the POA.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. I want to asking you that what is the evidence or data that you have that an autistic person cannot be a genius or a smart person in real life? Thank you.
The clarification is that I didn't say that autistic people cannot be genius. I didn't say that, but the point is that because of this autistic genius representation itself in the media, and when the viewers see them, it may be misinterpreted by them, and it's not really accurate about this representation itself. It's because it only represents about 10% of individuals on the autism spectrum. And yeah, I think it will be more elaborated more in my second speaker. So in my second argument is that in my second point, and still this argument, is that why the portrayal of autism can impact to unrealistic pressure on people with autism. It is still linked to my first point, because this misinterpretation or a stereotype that this average people have to the autism people, this can be considered like a very capitalistic and exploitative belief, where that this person's worth is judged by their ability to perform exceptionally in real life, but we actually they actually are struggling in their real life, and they actually need to be listened to be we should be, what I mean is that we should understand what they need, and we cannot really categorize the same as the complexity of the autism itself from what we see on the media and what we see in their life. So proud to
prove that this motion deserves to be rejected. At first, I will explain what is autism. Autism constitutes a diverse group of conditions related to development of the brain, and they also referred as an autism spectrum disorders, or ASD, are a diverse group of conditions. They are characteristic by some degrees of difficulty with social interaction and communication. Other characteristics are typical pattern of activities and behaviors, such as difficulty with transition from one activity to another, a focus on detail, and unusual reaction to sensations. And I will reply the first speaker of the government team about the misrepresentations that we already know that autism has so many characteristics and has so many spectrum. So if one character has autism, it doesn't represent all of autism community. Okay, I will continue to my argument. The next one is in this world there is 1 in 100 children that has autism. So we have to detected the autism diagnosed from early, so they will have a caring from their community, and their environment will also care about them. So the healthcare the needs of people with autism are complex and require a range of integrated service that included health promotion, care and rehabilitation, collaboration between the health sector and other sectors, particularly the education, employment, and social care. And that's all a very important aspect of this uh, autism sectors. And also, all people, including people with autism, have the right to the enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of physical and mental health. And yet, autistic people are often subject to stigma and discrimination, including unjust deprivation of healthcare, education, and opportunities to engage and participate in their community. Autistic people are denied at least 5 rights from the UN Declaration of Human Rights. The first one is the right to dignity. According to the National Autistic Society, half of autistic adults in Britain report they have been abused by someone they thought they was a friend, and a quarter of autistic adults have also had money stolen from them by someone they consider to be a friend. And the second one is the right to education. Statistics show 1 in 5 autistic children in the UK have been excluded from their school, and and of the other 80% of autistic children who have stayed in school, half of them report having been bullied. And the third one is the right to equal access to public services. 1 in 3 autistic adults experience severe mental health because of lack of support. In our clinic for adults seeking diagnosis of autism, for example, 2/3 reports that they have felt suicidal and 1/3 have attempted suicide. And the fourth is the right to work and employment. Unemployment is a well-known risk of factor for depression, and we didn't want it to be happen to the autism community. In the UK, the unemployment rate for the autistic people is as high as 78%, and in the US, the number jumps to 85%. And also in the UK, in 2020 report that
Next, I call upon the second speaker from the government team, Mr. Zake. The time starts after you speak.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nabil Ahmad Zaki, and today productive. But do you know how it only represents a tiny fraction of the society of the autisms? That later I will bring in my arguments. That today the motion is that this house believes that the portrayal of the autistic genius characters in the media do more harm than good. With the example of the leading autistic author in The Good Doctor. The fact that autism was brought into the entertainment media, which having funny and entertainment aspect as the driver for their revenue, is already a bad idea, which portrays the wrong side of the autism. Here, we truthfully regret the actions that the media have done to the autism community and to the society as a whole. Among the most important facts that autism that have become the sense of the media, that there are 3 arguments that I will bring in this beautiful morning. The first one is that it is not accurate and it only represents about 10% of the individuals on the autism spectrum. A study done in 2018 on the media portrayals as in the autism found that around 46% of the autistic character on screen had 7 abilities. But in reality, it only represents 10% of the total individuals. As the other side of POI, where will they account for the other 90%? Thus, the illusion that media makes to the society of quote-unquote autism create an act of what the media can portray to the society. The word autistic does not serve as to what it's supposed to do, which is a serious mental issues that needs a special treatment, but rather a mocking or funny phrase that can be used to disrespect others. These are enormous disparities. These enormous disparities reflect a broader challenge that the word autism is applied so broadly that it's practically meaningless. The use of this term in the media thus is a disservice to individuals on both ends of the spectrum and those in the middle, and it may unintentionally be depriving many people of the attention and support they needed, because on TV, autism doesn't look that bad. On the other end of the spectrum, several real diagnosis autism said that how hard it was to access services because they didn't fit the mold of several autism that simply said they didn't look disabled enough. So this comes to my last argument, which is my third argument, that it is the reality of autism. Research has revealed of how incredibly heterogeneous autism is. To use a single term to describe it, it is already a contradiction to the knowledge that we have gained and a setback for people we love. We need to start seeing characters on TV in movies who reflects the breadth of experience of autism, not just a brilliant surgeon, but the child who bangs his head to the floor so hard and so often that he hurt his own eyes. And not just a high school student who struggles to date, but the one who is so fascinated by the yellow color that he sits home alone watching SpongeBob SquarePants all day. Otherwise, people who are highly challenged and struggle every day are at risk of becoming quote-unquote invisible. And in a Big Bang Theory, a widely popular comedy that has been on the air for 10 years, one of the leading characters, Sheldon, is a scientific genius, just like the example of our emotions. But unlike the many adults with autism, Sheldon lives with his friends and is engaged to be married. His habit of knocking 3 times on the neighbor's door is seen as a cute action, but in real life, his stereotypes, in reality, autism, and many adults that have autism are self-injurious and downright dangerous with their actions. And also, in The Good Doctor, Sean, the eponymous doctor, struggles with stress of being brilliant surgeon. He's a compelling character, but a far cry most nonverbal, intellectually disabled adults with autism who struggle to find a job at all. So the main arguments that we are trying to today's debate is the appearance of autistic figure in the entertainment industries, which entertainment industry is funny and entertainment aspect to it. By bringing autistic figure into the entertainment industry and the entertainment industry itself having funny and other entertainment aspect as the driver for the revenue is already a bad idea since it portrays the wrong side of the autism. Here we are trying truthfully regrets the actions that the media have done to the autism community and to the society as a whole. Among of all of those, I have bring that there are 3 main arguments. That is, first one, there is not accurate and it only represent about 10% of the individual on the autism spectrum. And the second one, it is bringing the wrong definition of autistic in the society. And the third one, the reality of autism is harsh. So I think that is all for me as the second speaker of the government team, and we are proud to propose. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for the second speaker of the government team, spend 7 minutes 22 seconds. And next, I call upon the second speaker from the opposition team, Mr. Wahyu Adiraga, and this time starts after his.
Paul Morris have said that I think that it is not only autistic people who need to learn. People who don't have autism must learn to understand them and be tolerant. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lijur as the second speaker from the opposition side of the House. The motion for today's debate is this House belief that the portrayal of autistic genius characters in media do more harm than good. And I, as the second speaker of the opposition team, is against this motion. Before I go to my argument, I will rebut 2 points from the government side of the House that the second speaker of the governance side of the House said that this autistic genius character in media do more harm than good to the community of the autistic itself. But from the data that I gather, they do more good than harms by exposing this autistic community to the world more than they're doing harms. And by the way, there is not a single data that is brought by the government side of the House that support their idea. So I guess it's wrong. The second is about the misrepresentation of the autistic that based on my data associated with ASD, favor negative character associated with ASD, and a greater desire to learn more about ASD. Then I will next go to my argument that the first is about the awareness. The point of this kind of show in the media that about autistic character in media is to bring awareness that some of this representation can be more realistic. Then you can say that the stereotype of people to autistic people is about they are pitiable and pathetic, an object of curiosity and violence, sinister of evil, crippled, laudable, and a burden and unable to participate in daily life. But when they are portrayed, the characters are usually neurotypical people playing an autistic genius. Well, people with autistic are bright, that like they said that they are bright like just common people, but the most stereotype happen that they are unequal and they have been discriminated by, like my first speaker have said, that this media representation for individuals with disabilities is also important for the development of people, especially kids without disabilities, because a lot of time people without disabilities don't know how to act around people with disabilities or what to say to them, and can be hesitant to be around others. That this raising awareness will normalize it and brought more awareness to those who need it. The second is about inspiration, that while this inspiration will be two-sided, that to those who have autistic and those who don't. In many autistic related media, autistic character are depicted as less independent, autonomous character and more as tools to serve, to inspire the non-autistic people character around them. For example, in the movie Temple Grandin, an autistic woman, Temple Grandin, became a scientist and animal activist, which many movie goers found inspiring and heartwarming. The implication here isn't that Grandin inspiring because of the difference she making in the world, but that she able to do it despite of her disability. The second is about Chris McElroy, who have an autistic in himself. That he said that the media remind him of how invaluable the experience that could help him lessen his life. That he hoped those kind of representation continue to grow as to continue to move forward. An autistic individual like himself will get opportunity to search and represent themselves within all the intersectional of who they are. And the third, in the Big Bang Theory, the good doctor, the Rain Man, that countless others show and film, there is a stereotype that people on the autism spectrum have special, almost magical ability. For example, the Sheldon from the Big Bang Theory is renowned scientist, and Sound from the Good Doctor is an expert surgeon. In our world, everyone's work is dependent upon this perceived benefit that they could contribute to make the society run smoothly. This is why so much people's identity hinge upon what they do for a living. For instance, autism characteristics are devalued because people perceive them that this characteristic cannot serve this purpose. That the notion these characters shown by Sound or Sheldon have exceptional abilities is designed to prove that autistic people can contribute to society. That disability are supposed to prove that autistic people can be cogs in the well, and the fact that they can bring something to the table of society justify that they get the seat at the table. Lastly, many LFI students recognize the need for their own representation in media, that it is good to show difference in movie to everyone else. that it's important to show everyone disability on media. Whitman LFI alum Dylan Kohnan appeared as an paid extra on HBO film Game Changer, which is put a code for extra with Down syndrome. As an actor and viewer with disability, he understands the importance of media representation of his community. When he was there, they treated me like a prince. He said, it's also important for the audience to see this and how they act in the TV show. That they are just like everyone else and they are portrayed in positive light. Based on the data that my team have bring, that's this representation of autistic, especially autistic genius in the media, bring more good than harms to the society, more just against what the government side of the house have said. That Ron Sandinson, the professor of theology at the Seni School of Ministry, a board of ministers, said that help people with autism to be included in social activities. By doing these people learn that individuals with autism are like everyone else and are desired to have friendship. So I once again, as the second speaker from the opposition side, will do more good than harms, rather than it is do more harm than good. So I guess this motion is that is.
Okay, thank you. And the second speaker of the opposition team spent 6 minutes and 49 seconds. And next, I call upon the third speaker from the government team, Mr. Azam. The time starts after you speak.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Our first speaker has said that the autistic genius portrayal in entertainment media doesn't represent all autism. And because of that, unrealistic stereotypes of people with autism. Why it is not accurate? Because it only represents about 10% of individuals on the autism spectrum. Average people who don't really understand about autism demand something from people with autism to have certain skills, to have manner that's viewed as useful to others, such as biology, as in the good doctor, mathematics, music, and etc. This can cause unrealistic pressure on people with autism. This also can be considered a very capitalist and exploitative belief that this autistic person's worth is judged to their ability to perform exceptionally. Our second speaker has also said that we have wrong definition of autistic about the actual facts of autism. We might come up in a situation where we'll call our friend that clearly normal as in having an autism for their rather unusual behavior. Here is the real impact of what media can portray to the society. The word autistic doesn't deserve to what it's supposed to do, which is a serious use to respect others. This enormous disparities reflects a broader challenge. The word autism is applied so broadly as to be a practical meaningless. And to rebut the second speaker argument that they say of people who watch The Good Doctor, that they say that people who watch Good Doctor learn something from The Good Doctor. Maybe it's true, but also there are reviews that say that these films use autism as excuse for Sean's bad behavior. It's disrespect to people with autism. And the reality of autism, research has revealed how incredibly heterogeneous autism is. To use a single term to describe it is a contradiction to the knowledge we have gained as a setback for the people we love. We need to start seeing characters on TV and in movies who reflect the breadth of experiences of people with autism. Not just the brilliant surgeon, but the child who bangs his head on the floor so hard and so often that he hurts their own eyes. And not just the high school student who struggles to date, but the one who is so fascinated by the color yellow that he sits come along reaching SpongeBob SquarePants all day. Otherwise, people who are highly challenged and struggle every day at a risk of becoming invincible. It only play in best case scenario where every viewers can have same reaction. They think that it will raise people awareness. A lot of viewers' stigma will be broken, discrimination can be reduced, and it can cause inclusivity and better environment of autism. But in reality, we don't know how the people react to the movie, how they see autism in their society, in their maybe in their house if they know someone who have autism, and it can harm the autistic people and make PR rejected and make them more suffer because the expectation and demand they get. The main rebuttals here is the main rebuttals is that there is a misconception lying around the foundation of other team's argument. Media that we are trying to debate this morning is basically an entertainment media derived from the emotion, while the authors say that it is important for them to show autistic appearance. It only represents 10% of the autistic community, and it can drive an expectation of society, while in reality they will be let down by the actual conditions of the autistic society. So the point is, we regret the appearance of seemingly perfect autistic, but only represent the 10% of the community. Moreover, they also don't have the data about how those 10% can affect the rest of the community. Thank you. That's all from me.
Okay, thank you. And the third speaker of the government team spent 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Next, I call upon the third speaker from the opposition team, Ms. Ajeng Rahmawati, and the time starts after you speak.
Hello, is my voice clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. I will start my speech now. According to the third speaker on the government team, he said that we only show the best scenario, which people perceive the representation on the media in the best way possible, that we can break the stigma, that people will understand autistic people better, and that some people will see autistic people in a bad way because of, compared to watching a lecture, resulted in more accurate knowledge, more positive characteristics associated with ASD, fewer negative characteristics associated with ASD, and a greater desire to learn more about ASD. Why is it important that the media represent and portray autistic people? There are a lot of cases that shows that turn on girls. Why is it happening? Why the parents cannot see that their kid needs help, or that their kids might have autism? It is because the society's knowledge about autism is little. Again, that prove our point that the media should give representation and portraying autism people. Okay, and the government team also said that the portrayal of autistic people on the media give unrealistic pressure on autistic people. It is because the media that you said is the example is the movie A Good Doctor, which shows that the character has Asperger's syndrome. Asperger's syndrome is might seem as someone who is genius or have a very wide knowledge about the things that they like, such as Sean Murphy. He has a very wide knowledge about medicine, and this put pressure on autistic people, which I think is not true, because not all autistic people has Asperger's syndrome, because autistic people is very wide, and the syndrome that they have is not the same. That is why it is called autistic spectrum. So I think it is not true that the portrayal of the media puts pressure on autistic people. Also, he said that the media could be an excuse for bad behavior. This type of bad behavior, by using the word autistic in the wrong way or bullying autistic people, is the reason why we should have more representation of autistic people in the media, is to show people how different autism can look on the different people, and also to raise empathize, to raise sympathy, and to respect people who have autism. I think that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And the third speaker of the opposition team spent 6 minutes and 1 seconds. Next, I call upon the reply speaker from the opposition team, Mr. Wahyu Adiraga, and the time starts after you speak.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the reply speaker from the opposition side of the House. In this chance, I want to summarize our debate for today with the motion of this House belief that the portrayal of autistic genius characters in media do more harm than good, with the example of the leading autistic doctor in Good Doctor. The opposition side of the House brought 4 main points of view. That the first is about inclusiveness or the stigma held by the autistic people in our world. The second is about the awareness from this autistic community. The third point of view is about the inspiration brought by this representation in media and how this media could represent more about autistic community more than other. The government side of the House have also 4 main point of view. The first is about the misinterpretation of autism in media. That the media is also having wrong the definition about autism, that the media also brought higher expectation toward the autism people more than it have to be, because it's only a small fraction of the autism people that is actually genius. And the last, that autism representation in media do more harm as it show how bad autism really is. One of the main class in this debate is about the current status quo brought by this motion, that the discrimination that is happening to the autism people represent in data by my first speaker said that most people, like 80% of school students, is being bullied, a third having mental health, while having no support at all and have limited access toward health, education, occupation, and so on. This is what we want to challenge by representing the autism in media. While the government side of the House said that this representation in media brought more harm than good, we believe it's bring more good because it will expose them. It will raise our awareness that this kind of awareness is much better than you are having a lecture for a whole semester, that it will show us more about the good side and less about the bad side of the autism. That it shows that autism is people just like common one. They also said that this kind of representation in media is misinterpreting because there's only a small fraction of people that is actually genius in autism people. But the same also happens for the common people. That's only a fraction of us is also a genius. That this kind of representation is mainly to go against the common discrimination that is felt by those who have this kind of autism. And this representation is more representative than what the government side of the House have said. That is the data brought by our second and third speaker, that many of the autism community believe that this kind of representation is good for the community and they want it to be widened. Because the more exposure we have, the kind of what kind of autism that this world has, that there is many kind of autism, is good, because every kind of autism need to be dealt differently from the others. That the second and the third speaker also reject all of our POI, meaning that they cannot oppose our point of view if they take our POI. John Elder Robinson, author of Look at Me in the Eye, also said that I don't want to be a genius or a freak or something on display. I wish for empathy and compassion for those around me, and I appreciate sincerity, clarity, and logicality in other people. I believe most people, autistic or not, share this wish, and now With my new fonts insight, I'm on the way to achieve this goal. I guess that is all from me on why opposition side should win this debate. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Replay speaker of the opposition team spent 4 minutes and 26 seconds. Next, I call upon the replay speaker from the government team, Industri Inaya, and the time starts after you speak.
Okay. I'm going to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, this debate came down to which side of the house that can prove to us that the portrayal of autistic genius characters in media can do more harm or more good in the real life itself, like for example, the leading autistic doctor in The Good Doctor. In the first episode of the Good Doctor series, we can see that the visual representation of the brain of the Dr. Sean Murphy in the series can he taps into the bank of memorized facts, and then he can then result in such a really short amount of time to have such diagnosis in a medical crisis situation. This is exactly the fact that the representation and the portrayal of the autistic genius in the media shows only the best case scenario of the and it's of the autism genius and of autism genius, and it's the illusion that the media makes to the society that can, in the end of the day, it can build to misunderstanding and misunderstanding of the media itself, and of the movies, and then they can yeah. Under opposition, they bring the argument that they can raise people awareness. They can have a lot of viewers about the entertainment itself, so that people can have more sympathy. They can build better environment to the autism itself. But understand that because of this portrayal of autistic people, it has made such obsession to the society or to the entertainment organization that it needs to build even more and better and more of the series of this autism, including this autism people itself. Well, they can without doing enough research or about with a professional's help in terms of the portrayal of the autism people itself. Well, we already bring the fact that it's only a small percentage of the individuals on the spectrum of the autism itself that have the autistic genius condition. But it is the media representations of the autistic are not accurate in the first place, and they are limited in a lot of aspects in the first place. That is exactly why, under government side of the house, we said that we believe that the portrayal brings more harm than good itself, and then they can make people to have such misinterpretation, misunderstanding, and that it can project them to the autism people in the environment around them. And under a side house, we already proved to you that this causes unrealistic stereotypes of people, and they give them a pressure to them. And we absolutely regret that the action of the media has done to portray this autistic genius, because it's only overly positive depiction of autism, that it doesn't really reflect the reality for the majority of people on the spectrum. We support autism people to be taken care of, to be in the best supportive environment, to not be pressured with such unrealistic expectation and pressure in their life. So vote for government. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The reply speaker of the government team spent 4 minutes and 1 second. Okay, so this is the end of the debate. This is a silent round debate. So the announcement of the winner would be announced later on Lijur's Instagram. And now the debaters may leave the room. And thank you to all participants and the adjudicator. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Panitia. Thank you, Guru.
Thank you.
Bye.